Hello and welcome to another edition of the Diversified Semantic Layer podcast. I'm joined on this late Tuesday, post-Labor Day evening by my pals Jamie Oswald in the getaway car.
Hello and good evening.
Dallas Marks, and back for a record-setting 7th episode, Mr. Dave Rathbun. Hey, Dave.
Greetings. Got dressed. I wore my mentor shirt.
That's amazing. Represent. I'm wearing sort of what I woke up and rolled out of bed into this morning, because I didn't actually have to go anywhere today. So, community news. What, Tech Ed is mere days away, right? Anything else happening in the planet?
The ASUG Business Intelligence and Analytics Conference is coming up as well next month. So if you haven't booked one of those two, you probably should.
Nolans. Going to New Orleans.
So a little known fact, but the BO conference was in New Orleans back in the late 90s. That was actually the site of the very first variables presentation by yours truly.
So are you rehashing it like variables 20 years later?
No, I'm not. I'm not speaking this year, so it's not going to be rehashed anymore.
Well, it's nice of them to go ahead and have the conference anyway.
Yeah, yeah, I'll have to send them a thank you note.
So it's suddenly a spectator sport, Dave?
Actually, I'm not even sure if I'm going to make it this year. That's still to be determined.
How could they even have this thing then? I don't even...
Yeah, I'm hoping to make it. If I make it, it'll be my 20th straight.
Oh my gosh. All right, so for all of you listening, we're going to start the Dave needs to make his 20th Business Objects Conference Fund. Dallas is going to pull together a GoFundMe. We're going to get you there.
There's got to be a hashtag for it.
Yeah, we'll come up with something.
Well, for those of us who are neither going to Tech Ed nor going to the ASUG conference, we do have to give a shout out for the SAP Insider Reporting and Analytics Conference, and that will be in November.
Wait, there's one in October too, right? Vegas?
Isn't that the HANA one?
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I always get them mixed up. There's one in Vegas in October and one in Florida in November.
Just Google it, people. Google it. Be on the safe side.
Your continued source of untrusted information since 2010, right here. Right here. So, we thought we would get together tonight. We were batting around topics, and something really important came to mind. Steve Lucas is a tough follow, but we've been wondering what's the deal with Explorer. So what is the deal with Explorer? It's still there.
It's still there. It's still officially supported, and you can keep your Explorer content as long as you want to. That's been the message, right? And I think that's good. I mean, I really like Explorer. It lets me let my users do things that I can't let them do with some other tool, right? In most self-serve business intelligence tools, that means they build a query and then they format a report and then they apply filters and then they do all this stuff. In Explorer, it's just you just click on whatever you want to see more of. It doesn't get any simpler than that. So it's sort of a self-service solution that can be used from very high-level people to very low-level people, and I think it's just great. I think it was just sort of ahead of its time, and I think we're sort of at the point now where everyone is interested in that functionality, finally. But now we're off in a new direction.
So by ahead of its time, what does that mean? Nobody wanted to explore or search or what?
Well, I think when it first came out, it was just too much for people. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say Explorer was HANA before HANA was HANA. There's your soundbite. Go ahead, Jamie.
No, I just think that most people weren't prepared to take advantage of it, right? It was kind of a wonky licensing add-on, right? Nobody really understood how it worked. It sat alongside your BOE rather than being fully integrated. It was just not well understood. And I think that, I think it was hard for people to access. And I think people still weren't really I think people just didn't understand it for a while, right? They didn't understand what to put into an information space to have it be useful to people in multiple levels, right? And I think, now that it's more understood, the people who are using it really love it. It's just, it's hard to find people that are using it because, people sort of got interested in it too late. And by the time they did, it was, oh, well, here's Lumira. It's going to replace Explorer anyway, right? It's just not going to be for a while.
Do you guys remember when they released augmented reality for Explorer?
No.
You don't remember that? It was
no, I don't.
It was with the geo features, and you could hold up your iDevice and get data off a map. Created Pokemon Go. Maybe it was the predecessor.
Yep. Timo showed that off for a while.
No love.
So I think.
So Dave, what do you guys use Explorer for?
So we use it for a couple of things. We don't, I guess, use it regularly, but what I've found that I can do faster with Explorer than any other tool is show my business just how bad their data is. You can take their data, you load it up into Explorer, and you let them, based on its namesake, you let them go explore the data, and they say, well, what's this doing there? And what's that coming from? And this should be combined. I mean, they don't understand just how bad their data is sometimes until you show it to them. And it's the fastest and easiest way to do that. As Jamie said, it's a real simple point and click interface. You don't need any training at all. I can point you to the URL and you can go play with your data. We were trying to pull some stuff together from some of our overseas business units, and their systems aren't quite as consolidated as we would like them to be. So we're pulling data from multiple different places. We just load it all into Explorer, point these overseas folks at it and say, look, this is what we're dealing with. If you can tell me how to make this clean and make it valuable to you, I can make it pretty. I can make it pretty in any tool you want. But let's start with this. So Explorer really fits a niche for us there. We did use it some time back when you might remember the Do Us a Flavor campaign from Frito-Lay, where you had different user supplied recipes for potato chips. There was a cappuccino one at one point, which I thought was odd, but the data that from the first year we did that program, we weren't getting it initially, and we were able to go ahead and pay a small amount to the vendor who was running the promotion for us and pull all that data in, and our marketing people had a blast. They played with the voting data. I loaded up the census data so we could look at not only what states were buying which flavor of chips, but maybe on a per capita basis, it might change which was the favorite flavor. It was a lot of fun. It was one of the most interesting and most fun things that I've done since joining Pepsi, was that particular project using Explorer on top of the data for that promotion.
I want to get to Dallas in a second, but I remember seeing one of your presentations at conference just a few years ago, and back to your comment about it was HANA before HANA was HANA. The thing that you demonstrated in that talk was, you were shoving bajillions of rows of data into Explorer as is, and letting people go crazy with it, right?
Pretty much. Now you at the time you could buy on a comment, right? At its core, Explorer is an in-memory engine, and it's a columnar database. So those terms should sound familiar. That's kind of the Explorer was one of the not progeny. That's going the wrong direction. Anyway, there's a relationship there. And yeah, we had a whole bunch of data in there, and it all gets loaded up into memory. And in this case, we were a little bit constrained because we almost literally pulled an extra Unix box out of the closet that wasn't being used, a Linux box, and put Explorer on it and ran it. So yeah, it was a pretty good fun time.
So Explorer was like Bob, and you had it running under your desk? Is that what you're telling us?
It was running under somebody else's desk, but yeah.
It's too loud. It's got to go to somebody else.
Yeah.
Alice, you were starting to chime in there a moment ago.
Yeah. What I think those of us, especially those of us who are partners, don't realize is, I mean, there's this whole competitive landscape. And search-based data discovery is actually a category, and it's one that doesn't make it into the Magic Quadrant due to the revenue these companies are generating. But if you look in the Garden report, if you look at the bottom, there are several players, and I became aware of one just recently because. TDWI did a, sponsored one of the vendors in a podcast. So people are looking for more than just Tableau. I mean, we've heard Donald McCormick write blogs periodically. Since Lumira's come out, that not everybody's an analyst. Not everybody wants to sit down and build something in Lumira or Tableau or Click, and I think that's what these tools address.
So I think if I could just maybe summarize what you said, I think it's fair to say that Explorer never reached beyond that of the real power user, the business analyst, through data exploration. But now is the implication that maybe these tools should be more mainstream? The ability to ask the question and get an answer, simplify beyond.
I actually think they have made it further. I think that Explorer is really popular with my analysts, right? Because they can get to the same information they could get to by creating a web report, but they can get there a lot faster. But we use it additionally to share all the information that's within a dashboard, right? So a lot of times you put together a dashboard, it's at a very high level, it's already pre-aggregated, and you put it up there and people say, well, that's not my data, right? Or, that number's wrong, or that's not what I got, or whatever. And so what we do is any metric that's on a dashboard, we also include a link right next to it to an information space that has the detailed data, right? So that's great. If you don't think that's your number, show me which of these supplies you didn't use, or show me which of these patients was not yours, or show me which of these POs you did not approve, right? And because you can give them that granular level of data and have it be context aware in certain cases, it jumps you right in and it lets you instantly validate, right? I think Dave's point about it being a great mirror to hold up to your users about the quality of their data is correct. And we found, honestly, that now that our analysts and leadership are used to that model, they don't look at the dashboard nearly as much, right? So they'll click on the dashboard just to get to that Explorer link to go get the information that they really need.
So
go ahead, Dave.
Yeah, I was just going to wonder, one of the things about Explorer is there isn't a lot that you can do with it. I think it's part of the power is its simplicity. if somebody starts to ask, well, you just say no, because Explorer, what you get is what you get. There's no customizing. So I wonder from a partner or a vendor perspective, if it doesn't get a lot of attention because there isn't a lot of, follow-on project work to be done there. I mean, Dallas, any thoughts on that? I mean, I know we didn't push it a lot back in the Integra days. Just we didn't really know it very well, I guess. But does that make sense? That's something that just occurred to me.
Well, and nobody was licensed for it either back then, right? It was always an add-on. Now, if you've done anything to your contract in the last 3 or 4 years, you've got access to Explorer.
I think the licensing is a big deal. I've been able to do a lot of BI4 migrations over the past 4 years, and at EV Technologies, as part of our services, we attach our Sherlock product to the customer system and get a big extract and see what they're doing, and I'm always really, really excited at the beginning, and then you pull the data back, and most of the migrations that I've been a part of are 80% web intelligence and 20% Crystal, or vice versa. Sometimes I'm surprised even how few customers are using Excelsius for the same reasons. They had one kind of license, and 5, 7, 10 years ago, Excelsius and Explorer were a la carte options, and a lot of companies looked at the price tag, and they blinked. Just some of these customers have instead of expecting a suite to provide all their answers, they're using the SAP BI platform as that's our hardcore BI platform, and we're going to buy something else if we want to do something cool. And you see quite a bit of that as well.
So let's pivot on that, if we could. So we've spent the episode so far reminiscing over days that are about to go by, right? I mean, the future isn't Explorer. So I guess the question is, for fans of Explorer, does the known future at SAP kind of capture some of that same spunk? And the things that come to mind are, Lumira, this custom view inside of Design Studio, which is sort of Explorer-esque, and now BusinessObjects Cloud starts to exhibit some of those behaviors. So do any of those quench the appetites for your users, or for you, or for in the near future?
So we actually looked at the Design Studio Explorer face, and of course it only works on top of HANA, which I don't personally get to play with. We have some at Pepsi, but it's not in my area. And I find it a little interesting that there was enough desire to repeat Explorer that they're replicating it in another tool. So yeah, obviously there's got to be something there, or they wouldn't have gone through and done that. It wasn't just to show off the capabilities of Design Studio. They said, hey, this was kind of cool. Let's do that.
Well, I think Lumira is the real opportunity there, right? I don't think it's going to be anytime soon, right? But when they have real parity with it, I think it should be fine, because it will let you store data in the thing, in the file itself, right? So you don't necessarily have to go against HANA for it. If they could give you a view that is exactly like Explorer and let you then hop into creating Lumira stories after that, I think that really changes the game, right? So that gives you sort of the flavor of exploration views, but without the limits. I mean, I see that being tremendously powerful for end users to Does that mean if you can go that far with it, I think that really changes it. We're actually looking at re-looking at the way we build our dashboards now to start with Explorer instead of end with Explorer, right? So if you think about, I have data, right? I know that it's a little bit dirty. I can quickly get it into Explorer. I can expose it to my business unit. They can have access to their data the whole time I'm building their dashboard. And I can do quick mock-ups through exploration views or Lumira stories or what have you. Building the right stuff, right? So in the old world, when I wanted to build the dashboard, I would meet with them. I would scurry back to the lab for 6 weeks, build them something, bring it back. It was not what they wanted. I would scurry back, bring it back. It was what they had asked for. I would scurry back and go back and forth. And now I can save all that time and do it quickly and then give them the more permanent solution.
So if I missed it, forgive me, but I guess I haven't heard anybody say that any of those three options capture sort of the magic that you had in Explorer from your shop.
Not yet. No, it's not easy enough, right? They need to have that view where you just click on something to see more information.
So Eric, I think what you're seeing is, we have two guests with us tonight that use Explorer in their enterprise. They love Explorer. They paid money for Explorer, which a lot of customers did not. And here we are, 4 years since any major changes to the product, and 2 years since we've been on the road to simplify the BI portfolio. And with the Lumira and Design Studio integration at the front of the bus, it seems like migrating Explorer functionality to Lumira is even taking a back seat. Nobody at SAP is committing to delivering that in 2017, nor is anybody committing to a migration path. So I think you have a large number of customers who have ignored the product, but you have a small number who have invested in the product and might be a little frustrated that whatever the final solution is, whether it is in the cloud offering or if it is in Lumira, that there's not going to be a migration path.
So say we all. Is that the end of the show? I don't even know. Crap. Thanks, Dallas.
Call your ThoughtSpot rep.
So what if if I am a shop that has not deployed any Explorer, but I am looking for that functionality, do we recommend going ahead and starting with Explorer? Do we recommend waiting for Lumira? Do we recommend what do we recommend for those shops? Because I think that there really are a lot more shops that are mature enough to deal with a Explorer type tool now, but it's not ready on the new tool set.
I feel like BusinessObjects Cloud is probably the closest at this point. Conflicting opinions? No. I mean,
so
go ahead, Dave.
I'm going to say I'm taking us back in the backwards direction instead of forward, but my first experience with Explorer was the BI.OnDemand. It was an SAP cloud offering, probably 6 years ago, 7 years ago. And that was before we had Explorer in-house, but it was an Explorer type. It was the Explorer was driving their cloud product at that time. So the more things change, the more they stay the same, right? If you look at what's going on with Explorer, beginning, it's essentially a columnar in-memory database. Well, they have another one of those called HANA, which they're really proud of and they like to sell. It's more of a general purpose thing than, I guess, Explorer, which might be more specific as far as what the tool is used for. But ultimately, it's a little frustrating, I guess, for me. Jamie, it sounds like you're using it a lot more than we are. Half the time when I get ready to say, hey, I'm going to use Explorer for this, I have to go back to my business objects admins and say, I can't seem to be logged in. And they say, oh, yeah, I guess one of the services stopped working and nobody noticed, which kind of says a sad thing about how much we use it in reality. I mean, I'd like to use it more, but we really don't. Given that, I guess to Dallas's point, the lack of a migration path, given our enthusiasm, other than myself and a few other folks, may not be such a big issue for us.
Well, I think the other thing, I think Jamie said it, is if you're starting a new project and you want, faceted search, what do you recommend? And it's tough. A year ago I might have said, well, you own Explorer, you use the crap out of it because it's awesome still. But now I'm not so sure anymore. I think for me it sort of depends on how intensive the investment's going to be. How broad the use case is going to be, because if it's just something that in another year and a half or 2 years I'm going to rip out and re-engineer, that sucks. I'm not sure that's the right answer.
There shouldn't be that much. There shouldn't be that much re-engineering once Lumira has feature parity with it, right? I mean, you shouldn't have to do a whole lot. I mean, think about all the effort that goes into creating an information space now. You pick 10 objects and you tell it when to run, right? But Lumira should be the same way.
But if you have 5 exploration spaces that are important to your business, then that's not a tremendously big deal. But what if you have 500? Governance has never been the strong suit of this platform, because we don't necessarily know the entirety of what's happening within it. And second, the facilities to convert content are always absent, really. So, okay, not always, but in this case, there's no signs of hope, right? Now, are those customers in the majority? No, but I certainly wouldn't want one to go invest in that kind of heavy Explorer use today, I don't think.
Well, what would you tell them to invest in?
Plead the fifth. I don't know what the right answer is. It's going to come down to different strokes for different folks, because clearly the Jamie Oswald customers of the world aren't ready for the cloud, so BusinessObjects Cloud is immediately gone, right? Lumira doesn't quite deliver that functionality today. Design Studio has a finite use case. So what are you left with? Shopping.
Explorer.
Exploring the Gartner BI report.
So I think what we're saying is exploration is still important, maybe, sort of.
It still has a role.
To Dave and Jamie. Go ahead, Dave.
I was just gonna say it still has a role. I just the way we're using it, it's not important enough to get enough attention. In other words, we don't deliver a solution in Explorer. Like you could deliver a solution with Design Studio. Here's your dashboard. Here's your collection of dashboards. Here's your solution in Webby. Explorer is not something that we have ever used to deliver a solution. We've only used it, as I said earlier, to browse the data, to kind of play with the data. And all of those things came with an expiration date. In other words, the marketing promotion, we use it for about 4 months, and then we're done, and we move on. So it's not. I don't know how much we would miss it if it was gone, I guess, is one way of putting it.
Well, so let me ask you a question a different way then, Dave. if it's not Explorer now in the tactical use case, do you know what it is in PepsiCo? Like, what are they doing to satisfy that need if it's not Explorer? Or are
they run a Webby report, they drag everything on the query panel, they download it to Excel, and then they're happy.
So we've regressed down the evolutionary path.
Yeah, I mean, there's a little bit of sarcasm there, but there's some reality too. We have analysts who, and we have Teradata as our enterprise platform. So we have analysts that just use SQL Assistant, and they go in and they write SQL. We have, I mean, that kind of person probably miss Explorer. The person that's going to miss Explorer is the person who either doesn't want to know, or can't do the SQL. You got a nice interface to get around that. But yeah, I don't know.
The BI gods giveth, and the BI gods taketh away.
Yeah.
I mean, we're saying Explorer was great and it solved this need, and now you're back to Excel as a result. That's a bummer.
Well, we never really left Excel, I think.
Huh.
Nobody leaves Excel.
You don't put Excel in a corner.
Although that is another great use case for Explorer, right? If I have this, pond of data, I can go in and it's got 20 million rows. I can filter it down to the 20,000 that I care about and pump it out of there into Excel faster than I can create a Webby query and do the same thing.
So let me turn the question back to you, Eric, because we're kind of, I guess you could separate Explore into the two parts. You could separate the database piece from the interface part, right? The database, clearly SAP would want you to go to HANA. That would be their answer. The interface piece, that's, I guess, maybe where the question really lies. What am I going to put on top of HANA that gives me the ease of use, the searching capability, and the delivery capabilities that Explorer has today? I would hope they're not going to try to bolt this Design Studio lookalike on top of HANA and say that's our replacement, because I just don't see that happening. But I don't know what would be. I haven't played with Lumira in a while. I don't know what the because we don't use that at all.
I feel like the thing that so far to me has gotten the closest is BusinessObjects Cloud, but again, it's in a class of its own at this point, based on your willingness and appetite and current investment in business objects. It's and it's still different, right? I keep hearing, well, we have facet views in Lumira, but it doesn't quite behave the same. There's no search. I don't. There's just not an answer yet.
Well,
I think all the solutions that you mentioned handle exploration to some degree. None of them are handling the search piece. And product functionality aside, it's even a more broader question. Where are the advancements for casual business users to very quickly get answers? I mean, that's fundamentally what this tool does. Is a tool designed for an analyst, Lumira, or an IT person, Design Studio, ultimately going to satisfy that need of that user profile?
Nobody seems happy. I feel like we started off in a good mood, happy to talk again. Now we're also a little bummed.
You know, I don't agree. I'm not upset with the state of it, right? I would love to see some of this stuff make it into Lumira, but in the meantime, I'm just going to keep using Explorer, right? I still have browsers that support Flash. I still have ability in the mobile app. I can still use it. SAP will still support it. Do I wish that there were some things that they would do to just sort of iron out the rough edges? Absolutely. But, you know, if I can continue to use Explorer until whatever their HTML5 solution finally is.
But the big difference between your case and Dave's is and guys, correct me if I'm wrong, but Dave's use case was tactical solutions that were acknowledged as throwaway. Do you feel that way about the stuff that you're building today? Like, is any of it throwaway? Or when the day comes and they say, you know what, Explorer is end of life, you're comfortable going back to look at Plan B and rewriting it all? I mean, that's what we're saying, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I'm not that scared of it. I'm not.
Okay. Well, you need great consultants. Just putting that out there. Because that's going to be a heavy load, man. I'm just warning you right now. No, I kid. You know, I think. I mean, I've seen some of what you do, right? You guys not only use Explorer for fast access to data, but you build interesting and compelling visualizations on top of it, and you're using it far beyond just the exploration use case. So kudos to you in the shower. He is in the shower. I don't know if anybody else noticed. It's a little weird. I don't think he's been drinking yet. Hey, son.
It was the only place in the house that was child-free until now. So.
Past tense. All right. Have we sufficiently beaten this topic to death? We still love I love Explorer still. I still love Explorer.
Maybe they will surprise us at TechEd and they will announce something.
Was that a scoff of derision there, Eric?
That dream has been smashed already. All right. I guess if there's anything to take away is Jamie still thinks it's important. All right. Well, Dave, congratulations on episode 7. Hopefully it didn't suck so bad you won't come back for episode 8 someday. And,
you're the Steve Martin of the DS Layer podcast?
Does he get like a golden jacket at some point? Green? What's our color? We're kind of brown. He's a brown coat. For you Firefly fans.
Yeah. Ah, nice.
See what I did right there?
I did.
All right. Well, Dave, we certainly hope to run into you at an event near you. In the meantime, that's another one in the bag.
Good night, guys.
Cheers.
Thank you.
This podcast is hosted and sponsored by EV Technologies. Visit us on the net at savethecms.com.
D-Slayer!